welcome to our daily news program broadcast to you live here on Canal Algérie in today's top stories. The new ministers appointed by the President of the Republic take up their duties during official handover ceremonies held on the occasion. New ministerial portfolios and national competences aim of reflecting the ambitious vision of the head of state in dealing with current challenges. Welcome again. First up at our news, and as per a presidential decree, Prime Minister Nabil Arabawi has been reappointed as head of the government. The new cabinet has undergone changes, including the creation of new ministerial portfolios, as well as the appointment of national experts and competences to key positions. Further details with Leticia Sadqawi.
The President of the Republic has officially conducted the cabinet reshuffle, beginning with the Premier Nabil Al-Arabawi, in whom the head of state renewed confidence, while maintaining certain key figures in the sovereignty ministries, while creating new ministerial portfolios. This restructuring includes the appointment of new national competences as ministers, delegate ministers, and secretaries of state. Notably, Army General Chief of Staff of the People's National Army Saïd Chengriha, who has been appointed as Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense. The Ministers of Foreign Affairs, Energy, Interior, and Finance will keep their positions. The new reshuffle witnessed the appointment of Lutfi Boujama, former General Prosecutor at the Algiers Court, as Minister of Justice, Keeper of the Seals, thus replacing Abdurrashid Tabbi, who has been assigned to other duties. Significant changes have been made in key sectors considered vital for the reviving of the national economy. Among the new appointees is Sifi Gharib, who has been appointed to lead the Ministry of Industry, assisted by Fuad Haji, the Minister Delegate in charge of pharmaceutical production. Furthermore, Nuruddin Waddah has been appointed Minister of Knowledge Economy, Startups and Microenterprises. The sector of trade will now be headed by two ministers, Mohammed Bukhari serving as the Minister of Foreign Trade and Export Promotion, while Tayyib Zitouni will remain in charge of domestic trade and market regulation. The new government also includes governors Saïd Saoud as Minister of Transport and Houria Meddahi appointed as Minister of Tourism and Handicrafts. Other figures stemming from public institutes and organizations joined the cabinet, such as Mohammed Saghir Saadawi, Minister of National Education, and Mohammed Mazian appointed as Minister of Communication. Sid Ali Zarouqi, Minister of Post and Telecommunications, Najiba Jilali, Minister of Environment and Quality of Life, in addition to Mustafa Hidawi, who was appointed Minister of Youth in charge of the Higher Council of Youth. Walid Sadi was nominated as Minister of Sports and Zuhair Belilhu, Minister of Culture and Arts. Other delegate ministries were created to strengthen certain strategic sectors, namely the appointment of Sofian Shaib as Secretary of State to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in charge of the national community abroad, while Selma Bakhta Mansouri became Secretary of State in charge of African Affairs. Karima Tafir was appointed Secretary of State in charge of Mines, and Nuruddin Yassa, Secretary of State in charge of Renewable Energies. The reshuffle was marked as well by some reassignments, such as Jassin Mahdi Walid, transferred to the Ministry of Vocational Training and Professional Education. Kauthar Kriku is now the Minister of Relations with the Parliament. Soraya Moulouji was appointed as Minister of National Solidarity, Family and Women's Affairs. On the other hand, certain ministers maintain their positions, such as that of housing, agriculture, rural development, fisheries, public works and water resources, higher education and scientific research, of health, employment and social security, as well as war veterans and rights holders, in addition to religious affairs and endowments. This reshuffle is a combination of experience and competences to handle key issues to which the President of the Republic attaches great importance to overcome the social economic challenges facing the country.
The new government ministers appointed by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, proceeded today to the installation ceremonies with the previous ones before taking up their duties. A concise report on this national event with Melissa Kubash.
Following the ministerial reshuffle operated by the President of the Republic, handover ceremonies were held today for the following sectors: Ahmed Attaf took his duties as State Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community settled abroad in African Affairs. He presided over the installation of Selma Bakhta Mansouri as State Secretary to the Foreign Affairs Minister in charge of African Affairs and Sofian Shaib as State Secretary to the Foreign Affairs Minister in charge of the National Community abroad. Mohammed Arqab officially installed as State Minister, Minister of Energy, Mines and Renewable Energies, chairing over the installation of Noordin Yassa as State Secretary to the Energy Minister in charge of Renewable Energies, and Karima Tafar in charge of Mines. Lutfi Boujam'a took his duties as Justice Minister and Keeper of the Seals. Same thing for Yusuf Sharfa, who's been appointed at the head of the Agriculture Ministry, Rural Development and Fisheries after fusing the three sectors. Sifi Gharib was installed as Industry Minister, while Fuad Haji as Minister Delegate to the Industry Minister in charge of pharmaceutical production. Sid Ali Zarruqi was nominated at the head of the Post and Telecommunication Ministry. For Noordin he took his position at the head of the Knowledge Economy Ministry, that of startups and micro-enterprises. For Kautar Kiriko, she was installed as Minister of Relations with the Parliament, Mohammed Bukhari as the External Trade Minister and the Promotion of Exports, Tayyip Zaitouni at the head of the Interior Trade Ministry and the Regulation of the National Market. Said Sayoud took his duties at the level of the Transport Ministry, Mohammed Saghir Saadawi at the level of the National Education Ministry. As for Yassin Al-Mahdi Walid, he was installed as Minister of Vocational Training and Professional Training. Zohair Belulu as Minister of Culture and Arts. Mohammed Mizian took his position at the head of the Communication Ministry. Soraya Mouloudji at the head of the National Solidarity, Family and Women's Affairs Ministry. Huriya Maddah at the head of the Tourism and Handicrafts, Walid Sadi at the level of the Sports Ministry. Last but not least, Mustafa Hidawi was installed as Minister of Youth in charge of the Higher Council of Youth. And finally, Najiba Jilali took her duties as Minister of Environment and Quality of Life.
In other news, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad, Minister of African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, received Marie-Antoinette Rose-Quatre, the Executive Director of African Peer Review Mechanism. The meeting took place in the presence of the Secretary of State in charge of African Affairs, Selma Bakhta Mansouri. And still with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad, Minister of African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, who received a phone call from the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Tunisian Immigration Abroad of the Tunisian Republic, Mohammed Ali Al-Nafti. On this occasion, the two sides reaffirmed their shared determination to continue actions in quest of boosting brotherly relations between the two countries in line with the directives of the two leaders, Abdelmajid Tebboune and his brother, Qais Said. And today, November 19th, marks the African Day for Statistics. This year's theme, supporting education by modernizing the production of relevant statistics. The National Statistics Office is hosting an open house to raise public awareness about the importance and the role of official statistics. A meeting was also held in the presence of the Minister of Finance, Aziz Fayed, who praised the efforts of the office in shaping budgetary policies and planning future strategies across various sectors. In other news, Major General Mahfoud bin Middah, commander of the Naval Forces, presided over the inspection ceremony of the multi-role corvette Al Fatih at the North Quay of the Admiralty in the Algiers Naval Base. Letizia Sadqawi with more.
Major General Mahfoud bin Middah, commander of the Naval Forces, presided over the inspection ceremony of the multi-mission corvette Al Fatih at the Northern Admiralty of the Algiers Naval Base in the First Military Region. The actions of these exercises were focused on strengthening operational coordination and joint cooperation between countries participating in the field of maritime security, notably the fight against illegal activities such as piracy, smuggling, and illegal immigration. This exercise also allowed for an exchange of experience in the fields of maritime rescue and security in order to improve the safety of navigation in the Mediterranean, notably in the south. after his participation in the multi-mission corvette Al-Fatih took part in naval maneuvers containing practical exercises and inspection of rescue operations and exchange of information through multinational operation centers. This operation concretizes the commitment of the Algerian naval forces through their contribution in international efforts to reinforce security and stability in the Mediterranean. It also reflects a strategy of developing operational capacities and the availability of naval forces to face regional and international issues.
Still tuning in to Canal Algérie, coming up in our news. The humanitarian situation in the Palestinian territories is critical, with a severe famine always looming over the Gaza Strip. Welcome back, everyone. Algeria called on the international community to back the Libyan sovereignty as well as its territorial integrity to establish peace and security in this country. Taking the floor, Algeria's permanent representative to the UN, Ammar Ben Jammeh, indicated that the international community has to shoulder its responsibility regarding this file, reiterating, by the way, Algeria's position and constant efforts to consolidate peace and achieve a Libyan reconciliation. Ben Jammeh stressed as well the alarming situation in the Palestinian territories. And in Lebanon, more than 200 children were killed these past 2 months of Zionist attacks. The UNICEF spokesperson condemned the inaction of countries capable of ending this violence. The attacks in the south and the suburbs of Beirut continue on the sidelines of a ground operation being conducted by Zionist occupier troops. And a whole genocide is being carried out against children in Gaza as they represent the first victims of the Zionist war machine. About 100 Palestinians were killed the last 24 hours in the enclave, a chaotic humanitarian situation according to the UN. Story by Leticia Sekawi.
Gazans now have to fight for bits of food while starved, exhausted and frustrated. Bakeries are stormed by thousands of people, some of whom leave empty-handed with their stomachs still empty. This is an everyday scene in a region besieged in an unprecedented humanitarian crisis.
I come early in the morning and have to wait until 1 p.m. to get a loaf of bread. There is a real crisis of bread, flour, a total crisis. Only a quarter of those who are here manage to get bread, and the others leave empty-handed.
Since the start of the aggression, the occupier has used hunger as a weapon against the Palestinian people. Soup kitchens have become the only lifeline for thousands of families who depend on them to feed their starving children.
Thankfully, there are the soup kitchens, otherwise we could die of hunger. We rely on charitable organizations to survive.
Faced with this situation, some Palestinians have staged sittings in front of the UNRWA headquarters to demand emergency aid in the opening of crossing points controlled by the Zionist occupier, who intends to shut down the operation of this agency, effectively condemning the Palestinians to a slow death.
We are hungry. We can no longer live like this. We demand the minimum of our rights, a simple loaf of bread, the very one we need to feed our suffering children. Today we are organizing this protest to claim this fundamental right essential for survival.
The Zionist entity is using hunger as a weapon of war, a fatal weapon just like bombs and rockets.
And with that, our today's news edition comes to a close. Thank you for tuning in.